Clare FM's Beyond Belief with Father Gerry Kenny.
Clare FM.
A very good evening to you, and you're warmly welcome to join us for Beyond Belief on this Sunday evening, the 18th of January, here on Clare FM. Father Gerry Kenny in the chair this evening, and on tonight's programme I'm delighted to be chatting to the festival director, Carmel Honan, about the upcoming Ennis Choral Festival in its second year that will be celebrated at the end of this month. We will also hear the reflection of Jesuit priest Cesare Sposetti on the topic of the link between our own faith and questions of social justice in our world today. And of course, I'll be chatting to my colleague Stephen Fletcher in a few moments. But first of all, we begin with some music, as always, and here are Ennis Group, Socks in the Frying Pan, with Little Red Rocket.
me, strolling round the town.
A very good evening to you, Stephen, and you're warmly welcome as you join us this Sunday night from Kilrush. And we have a very full programme with music and a delight of Choral Festival happening over the road in Ennis in just under 2 weeks' time. So I'll be bringing you some information on that. I've interviewed with Carmel Honan, who is the director of that Choral Festival. So that will help us as we journey through this month of January. Everything okay with you there?
Yeah, very good, Gerry, thank you. Yeah, we travelled back at the weekend and we had a long journey back. We left a UK which is full of shops selling Easter eggs and hot cross buns. So, you know, the season moves on so quickly, doesn't it?
Yes, the commercial world seems to be ahead all of the time. But it's important, I suppose, and our own faith tells us we just have to live each day. And even though we have to plan for things ahead, nevertheless, we appreciate each day. At the moment, a lot of families are getting ready for confirmation season, which will be happening in our parishes shortly enough. And that goes right through from about February into May. Bishop Finton will be visiting many of the parishes, and in other parishes, then the priests themselves will be conferring the sacrament of confirmation. So there's a lot of preparation going on in schools and in parishes for those celebrations. And of course, for a lot of families, even though we've come out of the Christmas season, there is still a lot of sadness around. A lot of families have experienced bereavement and loss over the last few weeks, especially here in the West Clare area, and very conscious of those that have to struggle with that, the aftermath of losing someone that's very close to them, often in difficult circumstances too, and we need to keep them in our prayers.
Yes, especially coming after Christmas. It always seems so sad, doesn't it? But yeah, may they rest in peace.
Well, I suppose I had better forge ahead with the programme. There's lovely delights of music coming up, and particularly we're going to be hearing from one of the choirs that will be performing in Ennis in just 2 weeks' time, a choir called Ardu, and our next piece of music is coming from them, and it's their lovely version and arrangement of the famous song Carrickfergus. So with that, Stephen, thank you for joining us this evening, and I look forward to visiting with you and having the cup of coffee.
Very good. Thank you, Gerry.
True love came to me. back now in Carrickfergus to be together, my love and
The voices there of Ardú with their rendition of the Irish song Carrickfergus. Ardú will be one of the choirs appearing at the Choral Festival, which has been organised for Ennis in just 2 weeks' time. Following on from the success of the first of these Ennis Choral Festivals last year, I had the opportunity this week of chatting with Carmel Honan, who is the festival director for the Choral Festival. It will be held over the coming bank holiday weekend, starting on Friday the 30th, Saturday the 31st of January, and into Sunday the 1st of February, St. Bridget's Day. 38 choirs will be taking part in competitions. And in chatting with Carmel, I recalled, first of all, how amazing it was last year to attend the final concert held in the cathedral on the Sunday evening. It was just marvellous. I was at the final concert, Carmel, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Gerry. Yes, building on the success of last year and just hugely encouraged by people's responses to the festival in terms of we had full houses for the competitions in the Holy Family. All of our workshops booked out. The concert, you were there. It was such a success. So there is a huge appetite for choral music and singing, and we were just so pleased with the response to the festival last year.
And you made a great connection with the fact that even though this is only the second year of this Ennis Choral Festival, it really has its roots decades ago, and the connection is the late Mr. Dreg.
Absolutely, and part of the idea that was churning around inside my head was that I wanted to honour his legacy, and in fact, you know, this having a choral festival in Ennis is not really my idea. It's not an original in the sense that there were sacred music competitions going on in Ennis right back in the 1930s. So it was a case of reaching back and connecting with that legacy and honouring his contribution and legacy to choral music and singing in the town.
Well, I suppose just for our listeners, maybe to explain the impact that Mr. Dreg had. I remember him when I was growing up, had a music room over in Bindon Street, and I had my first attempts at playing the piano under his direction. But very sadly, he passed away tragically after that in the calamity of Carmody's hotel crash in 1957. But as you say, he left a tremendous legacy that, you know, I was conscious of growing up in Ennis. Cathedral choir, but he had many other, you know, connections with Flannan's College and with the whole aspect of music in the town.
He did, and there's a lovely thread of a connection as well, in the sense that the late Dennis Wilde, who was the Clare Champion photographer, he had piano lessons from Ernest Dreg and music lessons from Ernest Dreg, and Donna, his son, went on to pursue a career in music, did a degree in music. He's based in Wexford, and Donna has spent his life really digitalising Dreg's music and learning it and teaching it and performing it. And so Donna came to Ennis last year with his Rowe Street Church Choir. They performed one of Dreg's masses in the cathedral at 6:30 and then went on to compete in the competitions on the Saturday. And we had dedicated, when the Dreg family had dedicated a trophy in their dad's honour to be awarded to the choir who made the best performance of two motets that we selected from his work. And I think it's important. We had huge support from the Dreg family. Ghislaine, who's based in the States, gave me open access to 300 pieces her father had composed so that we could select which two we would have in competition. And Donna claimed that prize, and he was delighted to do so. He has a very strong emotional connection to Dereg's legacy and the impact it had on his dad's life and then ultimately on his.
And I think, looking back, I don't underestimate the influence that Mr. Dereg had, because even after he had tragically died, that music tradition continued. Kieran O'Gorman, I think, took over the baton of the Cathedral Choir and in St. Flannan's as well. One of the key figures in the setting up of the Ennis Franciscan Musical Society, which has evolved into the Ennis Music Society, and they put on a yearly show. And a lot of the members of the choirs that Mr. Dereg had would have been the carriers on of the tradition as well. A lot of them have gone to their eternal reward now, but I'm sure there's a great choir up in heaven.
There must be, and actually last year so many people approached both myself and Gillian Dereg in the Holy Family Hall with anecdotes and connections and stories where, their mother or father had been actually in Carmody's Hotel on given day and had survived the tragedy. Or one man told me he was in the choir in the cathedral, aged 5 or 6, in the junior choir, and she remembered him very clearly. So that was very emotional for them. And they have retained friendships and relationships with people in the town that they were in school with and that they visit regularly.
Well, we've honoured that, and that, as you say, is the roots of, where you have, if you like, resurrected the whole tradition of the Choral Festival, now going to be in its second year in just a few weeks' time. And we'll chat in a few moments just about the format of what's happening this year. But maybe we'll just take a little break from music now. An arrangement there of the song The Last Rose of Summer that was arranged by the late Ernest Dereg, whose legacy of music to the town of Ennis and surrounds is being remembered and celebrated at the Ennis Choral Festival, which takes place in Ennis in 2 weeks' time, commencing on Friday the 30th of January, Saturday the 31st of January, and ending on Sunday the 1st of February. I've been chatting with Carmel Honan, who is the director of the Ennis Choral Festival, and I continued our conversation by asking Carmel to tell us about the programme that is being arranged for this year's festival.
Well, we decided using the sort of old maxim, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And because last year was so successful in format, on the Friday, January 30th, we start with the juniors, primary, secondary and youth choirs. We have 14 choirs entered in that competition, representing counties Clare, Limerick, Galway and Offaly. Audience are very welcome. It's free. Come in, listen to what the future holds in terms of choral singing. And there's a lot of hard work that goes on. I was reading the bios of the different choirs. They all rehearse after school, during lunchtime. So there's a lot of investment in choral singing going on, both in primary, secondary and at youth choir level, which is wonderful to see.
And the venue for that?
The venue for that is Holy Family School, and I would like to take just this moment to pay tribute to Gillian Bridge, who's the principal there in the senior school. They have been so accommodating in facilitating us in terms of the use of the hall, free parking on site on the Saturday, which does make a difference in terms of convenience for people coming to the festival. On the Saturday then, we have adult competitions, and we have 24 choirs entered on Saturday. It's going to be a long day for the judges. And again, coming from Galway, Clare, Wexford, Limerick and Cork and Kerry this year. So word is getting out. It's a fledgling festival, but I'm really pleased with the response from different choirs that are making the effort to come and compete.
And in terms of the adjudicators, they are coming as well from afar.
They are. We're very lucky again this year. Dr. Orla Flanagan, who is Prof of Music in TCD in Dublin, and Mark Dooley, who is based in St Nicholas's Collegate Church in Galway and has the Resurgam Choir as well too. Both very experienced adjudicators and really excited about adjudicating for Ennis Choral Festival.
And then Saturday, there's also going to be a public, display, or if you like, concert out in Collins Street.
There is, and sort of year two, we sat down and we wanted to develop a non-competitive strand of choral music, and so we have 6 choirs who are willing to entertain the citizens of Ennis on Saturday. From O'Connell Square, and we have a timetable set up with different choirs singing about every 15 minutes from about 11 o'clock until 1, just to bring choral music out into the streets of the town.
So that's all on Saturday.
All on Saturday.
A lot of concentration on the competitions itself, but as you say, there will be this joy of music around the streets of Ennis as well. And then we're moving into Sunday.
Well, actually, I neglected to say that we have a series of workshops as well, a suite of workshops which we've expanded this year because of the success of last year. On Friday at 4 o'clock we have a workshop specifically targeting primary school teachers who are preparing school liturgies, the school choir for Holy Communion or Confirmation. That's at 4 o'clock here in Glore, and all of these workshops are free and bookable on Eventbrite. That's Friday at 4 o'clock. Friday at 7 o'clock Sarah Corcoran has her pop-up choir in Temple Gate. Then on Saturday we have workshops going on in conducting with Carmel Griffin, vocal care and care of the voice with Dean Power. And on Sunday morning we have a new workshop on Gregorian chant in St Flannan's College Chapel at 10 a.m, all bookable again on Eventbrite and all free. So that takes us then to Sunday, our concert. And we open with a choir who process from the back to the top of the sanctuary, the church, with Gregorian chant.
That's going to be, the concert itself will be at 3 o'clock, I think, on the Sunday afternoon. That will be Sunday the 1st of February.
Sunday the 1st.
And the venue will be the cathedral.
The cathedral in Ennis, and we're very grateful to Father Tom and his team for facilitating us. The cathedral is a very, very special place in which to perform. The acoustic there is just beautiful. I will always remember last year standing at the lectern to begin the concert and to welcome everybody, and the sunlight just streaming in through the stained glass windows, And we were so fortunate with the weather as well. And I know there's a tradition of putting the child of Prague out on the lawn for weddings, but I think we'll all be putting him out for the festival as well too, that we get good weather, because it makes a difference in terms of people being able to move around. But yes, Sunday in the cathedral at 3 o'clock, and we open with the choir Cantoral. We have Cantare, Ennis-based choir. We have Harmony Bro, an Ennis-based choir. We have the alumni NUIG choir from Galway, conductor Peter Mannion. We have soloist Grace Russell, and we close with the Dublin-based choir Ordu.
So, if it's anything to go on last year, Carmel, it is really going to be a great festival and a great concert, especially on that Sunday. And again, that's free.
It's all free. And yes, we are very much invested in hoping that people will get as much out of it as they did last year. And certainly the numbers of people that are booking workshops and that applied to enter competitions would indicate that there's strong support for this festival. And, you know, I see this, I personally have a vision for it, that we will one day become Ennis International Choral Festival. We were very fortunate this year. We had good support from Clare County Council last year when the idea was first mooted, and we were very fortunate this year to get some corporate sponsorship from EI Electronics and Shannon, and that has made a huge difference.
And, you know, I think it's going to be a great feature, and it's located just around the St. Bridget's Bank Holiday weekend. So you've established a place on the calendar of events for this county.
Yes, and, you know, I was kind of thinking about it, that we would claim that weekend and establish it. You know, the Bank Holiday weekend in May is associated with Fr Coyle. October Bank Holiday weekend is associated with Derry. So St. Bridget's Bank Holiday weekend will hopefully have the imprint of Spring into Song Ennis Choral Festival.
Carmel, I know you're not the only person that has been doing the work in all of this, and as you said, you know, just even locating sponsorship, you know, doing all of the background work and that, there's been a team working with you.
Yeah, the old, you know, there's no I in team, and I was so lucky. There are 6 people who shared the vision and enthusiasm and joy of choral singing, who were prepared to put shoulder to the wheel and work really hard. And the committee does work really hard. We took a break last year for a couple of months. Then we sat down, did a review, what worked, what didn't, what did we need to improve on, and where were the growth areas for the festival. And then just everybody goes into their respective corners and delivers from there in terms of tasks and, you know, negotiating with various different venues and all of that, so that we have a programme ready to go for 10 days' time. But I certainly, you know, no one person ever achieves something like that on their own. It's not possible. And we're all still talking to one another.
Well, Carmel, look, I really appreciate you taking time out close to this festival, because I'm sure there's a lot of loose ends that you still are working on in putting it together. But if it's anything to go by last year, it certainly is worth a visit to Ennis over Friday the 30th, Saturday the 31st of January, and right into Sunday the 1st of February, the Ennis Choral Festival. Carmel Honan, Director of the festival, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us here in Beyond Belief, and every success for the coming festival.
Thank you, Gerry, and I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about this festival, because it's something I'm very, very proud of.
When it's not always raining, there'll be days like this. When there's no one complaining, there'll be days like this. Everything falls into place like the flick of a switch. Well, my mama told me there'll be days like this. There'll be days like this. When you don't need to worry, there'll be days like this. When no one's in a hurry, there'll be days like this. When you don't get betrayed by that old Judas kiss. My mama told me there'll be days like this.
There'll be days like this. When you don't need an answer, there'll be days like this. When you don't need a chance, there'll be days like this. When all the parts of the puzzle start to look like they fit, then I must remember, oh, there'll be days like this. There'll be days like this. Days like this, oh, days like this. When everyone is up front, on their playing tricks. When you don't have no freelanders, how to get their gigs, yeah. And when it's nobody's business, the way that you wanna leave, I just have to remember, there'll be days like this.
When no one steps on my dreams, there'll be days like this. When people understand what I mean, there'll be days like this. When you ring out the changes, oh, what everything is. Oh, my mama told me there'll be days like this. Oh, my mama told me there'll be days like this. Oh, my mama told me there'll be days like this.
The choral group Ardu with their rendition of the Van Morrison song Days Like This. And Ardu will be one of the choral groups performing at the Choral Festival in Ennis, commencing on Friday the 30th of January, continuing into Saturday the 31st of January, and ending on Sunday the 1st of February. Further details of this festival are available on Facebook, Ennis Choral Festival, and if people want to book for any of the concerts over the 3 days, then details of these are available at the Eventbrite website. You're tuned to Beyond Belief here on Clare FM on this Sunday the 18th of January. Cesare Sposetti is a Jesuit priest based in Milan. He was a guest at a Jesuit Centre for Faith and Justice conference held in Dublin recently. He reflected on the theme, A Faith That Does Justice, and why it still matters. He took time to talk to Pat Coyle of the Jesuit Communications Centre about the theme that he addressed and the connection between faith and concerns of social justice. In conversation with Pat, he began talking about the fact that even though he's based in Italy, that coming to Ireland and looking at the world in general, there is so much concern that is shared by all humanity at this time. There are common threads in all of the social justice issues that are highlighted across the world at this time.
I was struck by the thing that, of course, we share a lot of experiences, we share a lot of challenges. We can think about the lack of human resources or financial resources, all the preoccupation, anxiety towards this world. I mean, with all the wars, these policies against migration that are getting harder and harder, and the victory of populisms everywhere in Europe and in other parts of the world. There are several aspects that are very worrisome in our world. Just sharing together in this dialogue, we recognize the core of Decree 4 was exactly this. I mean, it's important to have formation in social sciences, to be helped from social sciences, from other also non-Christian environment to understand better the society. But there is something very specific that as Jesuits, that as Christians, we can bring in the social work, in the social reflection. But this is really the experience that we have in the spiritual exercises, to experience the God's gaze on the world under the lenses, if you want, of a contemplation of incarnation. We believe in incarnated God, and we do believe that God is still looking at the world with that kind of empathetic and compassionate gaze that we are called really every day to make ours more and more. So our involvement in social apostolate, of course, it needs to be competent. We need to listen and to learn from many people also how to be with them and to work for justice and to advocate with the governments in this time is really important. But at the same time, we really need to be in touch with our roots, with our spiritual roots. Our spiritual roots are really loving gaze of God on the world, and that we can become more and more able to spread, to have this kind of gaze that is able to see the suffering of the people, the needs of the people, to listen to them, and we have to become able to let ourselves be touched by the suffering of so many people around us, be able to think, to reflect, and finally to act for facing all these challenges.
And have you concrete examples of how that might make a practical difference? How am I different between, say, a left-wing political activist and a Christian Jesuit? Yes. You're a Jesuit, or somebody who works in a Jesuit organisation for social justice. Can you see a difference on the road if we're out marching together, or where does it manifest itself?
Yes. First of all, I mean, in the history, also in the last decades, we have walked together. We also with so many people who were fighting for justice, even non-Christian, and that was very important, a very precious part of our experiences. And I'm not saying also that our involvement is by itself better than other people who are very involved in social justice struggles, etc. I'm not saying that. But what I say is that I noticed that we can bring really something with our charisma, especially with our charisma spiritual exercises. I will make a very concrete example. I arrived in Milan 4 years ago, and as I started to work in the editorial board of Aggiornamenti Sociali, I started also to study for a master degree in political science in the State University. My classmates were much younger than me, of course, but also most of them didn't come from a Catholic or Christian background at all. I had several opportunities to have a dialogue with them. I also have many friendships there now. But what I noticed is that they were really very competent, very good in doing the social analysis, in like a diagnosis of our society. And I learned a lot from that also. I think it's really important for us to learn those instruments, also reading the society and what is going on. But at the same time, they were really curious and they were really struck by our spirituality, especially because they were able to analyze all this. There was this lack of getting really into also the suffering of the people. Okay, I can say what are the historical causes, I can say what are the sociological reading of a reality. If I am a Marxist or a left politician, of course I have some values that move me. But the way they felt that we can really get near the suffering of the people and understand that the roots of injustice are in the heart of the people and not just in structures, not just in external structures. I think this is really a good contribution, a very important contribution that we can give, and working together, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I suppose the corollary of that is that if you see the roots of injustice in the hearts of people and you have to work with that, then you also see the roots of relationship, and helping or serving other people has to be a relationship of equality as well.
Yes. Another point, of course, facing especially contemporary times, we notice in our society, especially in our Western society, I think Italy and Ireland are not so different on this. Our societies have gotten, in the last decades, more and more individualistic, and the social liaison, the social links have become weaker and weaker. And so, I mean, this is a great challenge for us Christians, also to help people of our time to recover the importance of these relationships, of these social ties. Because otherwise, we don't do that, other people will try to do that in a very much more threatening way, because we see the success of populist or some right-wing parties is exactly that, because they give a kind of sense of community, of belonging, of identity, but we know very well that it's a fake this is a fake sense of belonging, because it's built against the others. It's an identity defined against the others. And in this way, I think we can be very prophetic, and our involvement is very important, because we can help people of these times to realize that yes, identity, belonging are important. Feeling part of a community is fundamental, but our communities cannot be built against
Yes,
somebody
that's a
else.
good point. I
Yeah.
think it's a well-made point that it's not, we have a great community because we're not black or we're not refugees or we're not whatever. And I'm interested then in that position. Say in Ireland we have seen the rise of very small, thankfully, so far, right-wing, like alt-right, quite extreme right-wing. We don't really have a right in Ireland, but there have been groups appearing who do define themselves in that way. So they use the Irish flag as a symbol for everybody and of reconciliation. And they use that flag and it's, we're Irish, so you're not Irish, so you're out.
Yes.
What does one do then as a Christian activist? Do you go and march against them? Because they hold marches in town and I think they have to have people who stand against them. And yet you could say, well, we're embodying we're not you, you don't represent us. And yet they have to be faced down.
Yes.
I mean, it's not always just love in my heart and aren't you wonderful?
Yes, I perfectly agree. I mean, I think two things, two aspects. On the one hand, it's important to keep up with a formation involvement. This is what we try to do also in Italy with this kind of socio-political formation for the youth. So to help other people to see that a different way of doing politics, of being together, of dealing with the hottest topics of the moment is possible. But it's not true that there is no alternative, not say like a Thatcher. But there is always an alternative. There is always a different way of seeing things, and also facing the challenges of today about immigration, about the war, about the conflicts, about identity, etc., etc. This formation. So on the one hand, on the other hand. It's very important also to be able to listen to what are the concerns at the basis of these alt-right parties, because these parties are maybe in Ireland not so much successful, but I come from a country where our prime minister comes from a party which descends from fascism. That's very meaningful. It's the first time after the war in our democracy that happens something like that. And this must interrogate us. This must question us. The answer is not just protest. It's not just say that they are bad, they don't understand anything, that we are the good people and people have to follow us instead of them. That's not the only answer. The answer is to listen to what are the real worries of the people that are underneath with this or political orientation, because there are real worries. People are scared. They are scared because they see all these migrations, these movements. Many times they don't understand, or because of social injustices in our countries, they suffer. Sometimes the competition, especially in the lowest levels of a society. These concerns are true. People are not stupid. But of course, we can help people to understand. But the main problem is social justice. It's not immigration in itself. There are some injustices, inequalities in our society that make these things much worse than what we are. Because we know that migrations are natural movements in the history of humanity. It is true that nowadays migrations are increasing because of climate change, because of the wars, because of globalization, etc. But nevertheless, the problem is not the migration in itself, but it's to address social inequalities that in our societies are very deep. I'm thinking especially about the Italian context, and this is the real main issue, because whenever you have this, especially lower classes and the crisis of the middle class that feel excluded from very small high-class elite, which has all the financial and the political power, and sometimes even they display progressive or leftist visions, of course the reaction is this. So it's very important not to be naive, facing this kind of dynamics, and to listen, to build bridges also with this kind of discontent, with this kind of anger of so many people. But of course, I do believe that we can go further. We cannot just stop on the anger, because this is what the populists do. So the populists just take this anger and they use it, they exploit it. We should try as Christians, to listen to this anger, to to work together with these people and to try to find other ways out also of anger. Anger can be a moment, but it's not the solution, anger. And we see how the world is going now, yeah.
Father Cesare Sposetti, a Jesuit priest from Milan, who was recently in Dublin at a conference addressing the whole topic of a faith that does justice and examining the connection between social justice issues in our world today and our gift of faith.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone.
Lord, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb, and there are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little love.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some,
but for everyone.
Lord, we don't need another meadow.
There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow.
There are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine. Oh, listen, Lord, if you wanna know
what the world needs now,
right about now,
is love,
we need love,
sweet love.
sweet love.
it's the only thing
Oh, mama,
just
Too little love
what the
needs now,
world needs right now
is love, sweet love.
sweet love.
No, not just for some, oh, but just for
Just for
everyone.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
what the world needs now is love, sweet, sweet, sweet love.
what the world needs right about now is love, sweet love.
The world needs now is love, sweet love.
Got a lot of things,
The
but
world
love is
needs
what we
now
need to
is love, sweet love. What the world needs now,
what the world needs right
is
now.
love, love.
Sweet love.
It's the only thing.
Just a little bit too little. One love.
What the world
Needs now
needs right now
is love,
love,
sweet love.
sweet love.
No, not just for some, oh, but just for
Just for
everyone, everyone. The world needs now is love, sweet love.
sweet
It's the only thing
Burt Bacharach tune, What the World Needs Now is Love, with many voices there, including Dionne Warwick. Well, we're fast approaching the time of 10 o'clock, and it's time for me to pack up our Beyond Belief programme for this Sunday evening. Thank you for your company with us, and we leave you with the reminder, of course, always, that Sunday prayer is available here on Clare FM on Sunday mornings at 7:45, and our Beyond Belief programme on Sunday night at 9 o'clock. And these can be downloaded as podcasts by going to the Clare FM website and clicking on the catch-up facility. My thanks to our guests this evening, to Carmel Honan, Festival Director of the upcoming Ennis Choral Festival. You can get more information about that festival that is commencing on Friday the 30th of January by going to the Facebook page for Ennis Choral Festival. My thanks too to Pat Coyle and to Fr Cesare Sposetti for the conversation on the link between our faith and questions of social justice. To my colleague Stephen Fletcher for producing tonight's programme and for our chat earlier. I do hope that you have a very peaceful journey through the coming week. From me, Father Gerry Kenny, a very good evening. Slán agus Beannacht.